Thus says the Lord, behold, I will stir up the spirit of a destroyer against Babylon, against the inhabitants of the Leb-Kamai. And I will send to Babylon winnowers, and they shall winnow her, and they shall empty her land when they come against her from every side on the day of trouble. Everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. That's the future of America. As we can see, it's all coming to pass now. The destroyer has been stirred up against Babylon, no doubt. And they are coming against the United States from every side right now. From the south, from the north. The destruction has been determined by God with the sign of Jonah on April 8th, 2024. And it's going to pass over Eagles Pass, Texas. So the eagle is passing away. Get it? You need to see the symbology they put into these things. And of course, Eagles Pass, Texas has been in the news quite prominently over this past year, which is a short year so far, 2024, because of all the confrontations at the southern border in that area that were set up and staged for the cameras, as I showed you. It was all a big setup to stir up a bunch of division again. And of course, to show everybody that we're being invaded. But Eagles Pass, because the eagle is passing away, guys. And then, of course, today, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed, and some are speculating that this is asymmetrical warfare being conducted against the U.S., and it's possible. But in my opinion, it's far too early to tell. To me, it's more about the destruction of America again. Jeremiah 51. The Star Spangled Banner was written by Francis Scott Key, who the bridge was named after, that just collapsed. Just like America is collapsing from within. Big time. As asymmetrical warfare has been declared in Russia too. But more terrorist attacks, like what happened in Russia, are coming to the U.S. From Infowars.com, war correspondent Michael Yan warns Russian-style terror attacks are coming to America. Reporters covering the open border discuss the terrorist threat stemming from letting in absolutely anyone from anywhere, indeed. And most of them are military-age fighting men. If you watch this video that I shared this last week, from the crossings at the northern border, even up there, he said 90% of them are military-aged fighting men, single men. They're not bringing families over for a better life. They're coming over here as an invasion force, just like it says here from this correspondent at InfoWars. Two investigative reporters, Michael Yan and Ann Vandersteel, joined the Sunday Alex Jones show to give their analysis on the terror attack in Moscow, as well as discuss the three's predictions of future terror attacks within the U.S. due to its open southern border. The sleeper cells are here. Yeah, no kidding. What we just saw in Russia is a prelude, Jones said. Yan agreed, adding that it will get extremely bloody, and went on to discuss the factors involved in creating this storm of violent, illegal aliens. Insofar as the death jabs go, plus the clear famines that will be unfolding over time, yes, they will. There's a long flash to bang on these famines, but they're clearly coming. I just saw an article this morning, guys, that said food is going to go up again exponentially. That drives humanistic pressure, Jan said. This is going to be an incredible war, the likes of which humanity has never seen. Yes, it's called asymmetrical, like we discussed the other day. Vandersteel discussed the brigades of Chinese soldiers who are currently invading the U.S. through the open border, as well as weapons caches stashed around the country. General Flynn's talked about how the Chinese right now have 7 divisions of military-aged men in this country. Yeah, and all of our troops are overseas, guys. We have containers stashed around the country with blue helmets, UN uniforms, and of course, any other arsenal. So yeah, and UN vehicles and tanks and everything else. So stashed all over the place. So those Russian style attacks are coming to America too. And then Putin is blaming D.C. for the Moscow attack. This was out of the speech he gave yesterday. Russian President Putin has gone on national television to tell the Russian people the terrorist attack is a link in a chain to Kiev and Washington. Who benefits, the Russian president asked. The Kiev regime has used any kind of inhuman tactics which make up a logical sequence of events aimed at intimidating Russian society and sowing discord. They also try to show Ukrainians that the only thing they need to do is obey the orders of Washington, he added. And so, I'll let you watch the video if you like. But that basically sums up what he said about Washington, D.C. being a part of, another link in the chain of this attack. And I agree with it. Absolutely, especially after what we talked about the other day with Victoria Nuland and what she had to say. In fact, I put an article up yesterday that talked about the same thing from Lucas Laros, who's a contributor to this website, don'tspeaknews.com. Terrorist attack in Russia. Enemies want to generate domestic instability. I'm going to skip down to this paragraph. The killers clearly worked as mercenaries in the attack. Despite being Islamic radicals, there's no evidence that their work in the specific case of Crocus City Hall has any connection with the extremist ideology, meaning ISIS. The killers' modus operandi did not appear to be related to ISIS, a group with which they do not appear to have any ties. In addition to killing for money, they tried to escape the place and cross the border into Ukraine, which is not expected from ISIS militants who almost always carry out suicide attacks in search of martyrdom. Indeed, that's why I was surprised that all these guys got captured. I'm surprised that they didn't blow themselves up to create more chaos and mayhem. Clearly, these were mercenaries that were hired, to get rubles. They were doing this as a motivation for money, not out of ideology. And they've admitted to being promised 500,000 rubles if they completed the task. So it's also necessary to remember that ISIS is currently a weak organization and incapable of carrying out large-scale attacks. Since the Russian intervention in Syria, most of ISIS has been liquidated, with the only remaining militias from the original group operating in several countries, including Ukraine itself, which we've talked about before in this channel, where the radical Islamic militants are often seen among anti-Russian troops. So there appears to be a strategic use of the acronym ISIS by Western intelligence, and that's exactly what it is, a creation of Western intelligence and Israel. So the reasons why the West wants to disguise Ukrainian participation in the case are easy to understand. Kiev does not act alone in its terrorist acts, always having the co-participation of the West. Being a vassal state, Ukraine only obeys orders from its Western backers, which means that if there was Ukrainian participation in the attack against Moscow, Western agents certainly cooperated in some way to make the incident happen. Indeed, they did. There's CIA all over the place inside of Ukraine. CIA bases all over the place along the border with Ukraine and Russia. They're up to their necks in this stuff. The United States is. We have active duty troops on the ground, special forces all over the place too. Not to mention right beside Taiwan as well, but that's for a different video. So yeah, it was to generate domestic instability for Putin and Russia, but also this is what asymmetrical warfare is, guys, attacking civilians in hospitals and city halls with big events going on. Just saying. Or concert halls, they call it the city hall, but you know what I mean. And of course, if we go back to Hal Turner's website, as we scroll down here, it's already come out that one of the attackers had been in the Ukrainian army fighting on their side. So, as we keep scrolling here, there's so many updates to these stories. Goes by pretty quick. But right here, one of the Moscow attackers has been confirmed to be an ex-Ukrainian soldier who served in 2022. So right there, Rustam Aziev, former Ukrainian soldier, right there in this picture. So yes, it does go all the way back to Ukraine and Tajikistan and the embassy there, and on we could go, right? But I think you get the point. Putin is right. It does have ties all the way back to Ukraine and then, of course, back to D.C. Now, I wasn't able to confirm this one about U.S. warplanes bombing Syria. I found information on that, but it was older, outdated information, so I'm not sure if that's true or not. But this one is because I've looked at the speech myself. So I'll put all these links up as always, guys, but make no mistake. Make no mistake. Asymmetrical warfare has been declared not just on Russia, but on the U.S. as well, as our borders have been invaded. Francis Scott Key Bridge has collapsed. Just another sign that America is under judgment and going down. Then from ISIS to solar eclipse, many Americans now fear an imminent black swan or false flag attack. This is another good article from Health Impact News that I will link you up to. I'm not going to go through it now because it is quite lengthy. But make no mistake, more of these style of terror attacks are coming to America and other places around the world too, I would imagine. So I'll keep my eyes on this as much as possible, but understand that it's tough. It's not easy. I'm a one-man operation here, so I'll do the best that I possibly can. But make no mistake, America's under judgment, and Jeremiah 51 is the book you need to read if you want to see what's going to happen next. And it's not pretty. And that's it for now. Don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for everything that we do. I want to thank everyone who has supported us. If you want to support the channel, you can click this channel support tab right up here. And all the links to do so are right here. I will be putting up a new wish list for the end of this month here, sometime later today. That wish list you can find right here. Right now I have a new laptop on there because this one is getting, well, it's really old. It's 10 plus years old and it's just getting really tired. So it's time for a new one. I can get a new used one just like this, but of course updated for about $400 or less. So that's why I put that up there. But I'll also put up the end of the month fundraiser there too. That way you guys know exactly what you would be contributing to. So there you go. All the links to support us are right here under channel support. And if you'd like to subscribe to get updated every time we put up a new video, blog post, what have you, type in your email here, click subscribe. And then YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Telegram, all the different places you can find us are right here under that tab, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and Telegram. So all that and more right here, don'tspeaknews.com. And that is it for now. Prayed up and prepped up at all times, guys. It's hitting the fan. God bless. Take care. Johnny Storm. Don't Speak News.